information session is now called to order. At this time, we look to our city's manager to call for our invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, Commissioner Bennett will lead the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would everyone please stand? Father God, I want to thank you for allowing us to be able to wake up another day. Thank you for our family, our friends, our loved ones. Lord, I want you to bless those that has lost their family during this time. Lord, I just ask that you just lay hands on them, give them the strength, the comfort that they need. And Father, I ask that you conduct this meeting the way that it should be conducted. And let us be able to come together as one for the Better Waycross. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thank our city manager alongside our Commissioner Bennett for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, we look to our city's clerk for the reading of our decorum. Madam Clerk.
I believe, Mr. Mayor, we have something, they're doing it a little bit different tonight.
Yeah, swearing in. Okay, very good. With that being said, I'll look to our city attorney and also look for our new commissioner.
So make sure everything's loud. Thank you. And let's repeat after me. I, William Tompkins,
I, William Tompkins,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully demean
that I will faithfully demean
myself as a commissioner
myself as a
of
commissioner
the city of Waycross,
of the city of Waycross,
and that I have
and that I have
and will
continue to uphold
the laws
the laws
of the city of
of
Waycross,
the city of
the
Waycross,
state of Georgia,
the state of Georgia,
and the United States of America.
and the United States of America.
I do further swear
I do further swear
that I will discharge my duties
that I will discharge my duties
as commissioner
as commissioner
without the influence
without the influence
of fear,
of fear,
favor,
favor,
affection,
affection,
or reward,
or reward,
or hope thereof,
or hope thereof,
but in all things
but in all things
pertaining to said office,
pertaining to said office,
I will be wholly governed
I will be wholly governed
by my convictions
by my convictions
as to the public good.
as to the public good.
I will well and truly
I will well and truly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of my office
of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I am not the holder of any unaccounted
I am not the holder of any unaccounted
for public money
or public money
due to the state of Georgia
due to the state of Georgia
or any political subdivision
or any political subdivision
or authority thereof.
or authority thereof.
I am not the holder
I am not the holder
of any office of trust
of any office of trust
under the government of the United States,
under the government of the United States,
any other state,
any other state,
or any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which office,
which office,
by the laws of the state of Georgia,
by the laws of the state of Georgia,
I am prohibited from holding.
I am prohibited from holding.
I am otherwise qualified
I am otherwise qualified
to hold said office
to hold said office
according to the Constitution,
according to the Constitution,
laws of Georgia,
laws of Georgia,
and charter
and charter
and city code
and city code
of the city of Waycross.
of the city of Waycross.
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Georgia.
and of the state of Georgia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Get your microphone. You got it? Okay.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to allow our assistant to get a little bit of training tonight, so she will be doing the speaking a little bit, so she can get used to it. Y'all bear with her, okay?
Very good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Section 2-66A, decorum. The mayor, commissioner, staff, and persons in attendance shall conduct themselves in a professional and respectful manner, except when expressly authorized by the mayor. All remarks, comments, and questions shall be directed to the mayor and not to individual commissioners, staff, or persons in attendance. A commissioner, staff, or person in attendance shall not speak at a meeting until the commissioner, staff, or person in attendance has been recognized by the mayor and granted permission to speak or ask questions. All comments, remarks, or questions made by commissioners, staff, or persons in attendance shall address the item or motion that is being discussed or be pertinent to the resolution, ordinance, or agenda item before the commission. No one shall make or use inappropriate, insulting, vulgar, obscene, and/or profane language, or make any offensive remark or comments while speaking. Nor shall anyone accuse any other person of being immoral, violating any law, rule, or regulation, or committing any ethical violation. Further, no one shall use this opportunity for public comment to speak about the activity undertaken for political reasons or ends, such as campaigning for votes before an election, campaigning for another person, making speeches, attempting to raise funds, etc., or otherwise promoting oneself or one's private position. Section 2-66B, public comment in meetings. Persons who wish to address the City Commission at a work session shall have the right to address or speak to the City Commissioners on official action or other topics relating to business or interests of the city. The Commission will not hear from persons, and persons will not be permitted to speak on matters or issues which are not related to official city business, matters or issues not under the jurisdiction or control of the Commission. Matters or issues published on an agenda as a public hearing agenda item, or on matters or issues which are traditionally reserved for executive sessions, such as personnel matters and matters which are the subject of or pertain to pending or current litigation. Because time is a limited resource, and in an effort to hear from the public in the most efficient and effective manner possible, a total of 4 persons will be permitted to speak at each work session, with a maximum of 3 minutes allotted for each speaker. Speakers shall sign up on a first-come, first-served basis. Failure to follow the procedures outlined herein may result in an individual not being eligible to address the commission until he or she agrees to the mayor's satisfaction to abide by the rules stated herein. The speaker must begin the remarks by stating his or her name, address, and organization represented, if any. The person must initially address all remarks to the mayor and not to any individual. The speaker shall follow the rules of decorum as set out in section 2-66 and must avoid repetition and arguments. Any commissioner or city manager or city attorney may, after receiving permission from the mayor, ask questions of the speaker. The asking of questions by any commissioner, the mayor, city manager, or city attorney shall automatically suspend the 3-minute time limit. Persons who have not satisfied the sign-up requirements will not be allowed to speak unless there is a consensus of commissioners to allow the person to speak. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, you asked, do we have any guests tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
And if you will, you can call for each of them and give them their instructions.
The first guest we have is Mr. James Thomas. Mr. Thomas is here to speak on handicap parking and plumbing. Mr. Thomas, So you have 3 minutes to speak.
How many minutes? Okay. My name is James Thomas. I live at 520 South Crawford Street. There's 2 issues. One is handicap parking. It don't matter where, what store, what town, uptown stores, out Walmart, Kmart, Kroger's, Food Line. People are parking in handicap spots that have no handicap permits at all. It's not showing on their dash, their mirrors, or their tags. The other issue is if you don't do something about Crawford Street soon, we're going to have a mess, because when it stops up, you can go out to the road and remove the clean out, and it comes up through that clean out, so that shows that it is, out in the road. I've even had a plumber come and run a snake down my sewage line, and it is clear. So, again, and it is awesome. Great to see each one of y'all tonight, and I thank you for allowing me to speak. But there's one other crazy question. Who can read almost 7,000 pages of paper overnight? If you can, please raise your hand. Because I can't. And so far I found nobody else to do it. So I'm going to get with the mayor, discuss what's going on, and then he can go from there. But again, it's awesome to see each one of y'all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Madam Clerk?
The next guest is Mr. Larry Lockie. Mr. Lockie is here to speak on the removal of the Confederate monument in Cannon at Phoenix Park. Mr. Lockie, please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello. As most of you may know, my name is Larry Lockie. I live at 818 Sergeant Street, Waycross, Georgia, District 1. I come before you, Mayor James, to seek information regarding the removal of the Confederate monument in Cannon that the city of Waycross originally set to be removed in March of 2021. This action was decided by a 3-2 vote between our city commissioner back in 2021. Now I recall Mayor Mike Angelo James said a private monument on public property is a violation of the gratitude clause of the Georgia Constitution, which explicitly say that the General Assembly shall not have the power to grant any donation of gratitude. Furthermore, a lawsuit was filed after the city of Waycross demanded removal of this privately owned Civil War monument. The legal proceeding was filed in Superior Court, but was dismissed by a judge in the Superior Court of Ware County. This leads me to ask, why should a Confederate monument continue to stand inside the city of Waycross on city property? Not only does it presently violate the Georgia Constitution, but it's a painful reminder of the past fear and inequity of injustice that we as people have worked tirelessly to overcome. I have come before you to ask that we should consider taking a page from Brumden, Georgia, when they were faced with the comparative situation in 2022. Mayor Crosby Johnson listened to his constituents and fought hard for their voice to be heard. The Georgia Appellate Court ruled that the group who claimed heritage to the Confederate soldier or memorized of the Confederacy does not stand in their claim in the civil court, that is, removing the Civil War statute would cause them monetary harm. Confederate soldiers and leaders were traitors under the definition of the United States Constitution, which defined treason as levied war against the United States, but they was not prosecuted for the crime. The Confederate behavior reminded me of another group of individuals who attempted to overtake the Capitol January 6, 2021. Some would argue the Confederate statutes are a part of Southern history, but so is slavery, Jim Crow era, the fall of many primitive black towns, Native American history. Yet these are slowly being eliminated due to their contents. It's 2025, and we are still trying to distinguish what is right and what is wrong. Keep in mind, the law allows the state of the local government to relocate the monument if they are needed for public projects like roads and construction and building expansion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Our last guest is Reverend Pharrell Malone. Reverend Malone is here to speak on the use of force resolution. Mr. Malone, please state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Shalom, good evening. My name is Reverend Pharrell Malone. I reside at 709 Jones Street here in Waycross, Georgia. I pastor the Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church, and I'm the president of the Concerned Clergy of Southeast Georgia. I rise today and I thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the Commission for your time and indulgence in this presentation of a resolution. I'm simply asking that we've already sent it out electronically. We pray that you will have it and have an opportunity to study it before your next session come January. But our concern is the Concerned Clergy of Southeast Georgia and the citizens of Waycross Warwick County proposed resolution that a resolution calling for the mandatory use of force reform, de-escalation training and accountability practices, and the establishment of a Citizens Review Board in Waycross and Ware County. We, the Concerned Clergy of Southeast Georgia, joined by community leaders, residents, and families of Waycross, Ware County, submit this proposal and resolution in response to recent and repeated incidences of unnecessary, unprofessional, and excessive use of force by post-certified law enforcement officers. We acknowledge and respect the sworn officers who serve honorably. We support those who protect the public with integrity and restraint. However, we cannot ignore a growing culture that has allowed for avoidable escalations, questionable arrest procedures, gaps in body camera protocol, violations of departmental SOPs, inaccurate or misleading documentation, and a lack of transparent, victim-centered engagement with families and the community, and because public trust cannot survive in silence. It requires deliberate actions. So as we come to the close of this is the shortest you will ever have me finish. A preacher in 2 minutes. Let church amen. We did make this presentation to the County Commission last week, and we are making the presentation here. We pray that possibly we can all sit down together at a meeting within the near future at the beginning of the calendar year to look at what the possibilities are. We're not accusing anybody of anything. We're just trying to make sure that body cams are utilized, because we keep hearing that we don't know what happened the first 30 seconds. Well, if the body cameras are on, we will know. That's why they have them on. Additionally, we want to just make sure that everybody's working together and that we are securing our community for a very positive engagement with law enforcement officers. So we issue this resolution not in hostility, but in holy responsibility, calling for righteousness, justice, and truth to prevail in the city of Waycross, in the county of Ware. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all who have spoken. At this time, we turn the rest of our docket over to our city manager for our information session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some admin notes before we begin. We're testing out a new sound system for those who are watching from the audience online. We have been receiving complaints, or not complaints, over this past year about unable to hear certain personnel when talking. So this is our first shot at this. We did test it, but we're going live now to see how it works. So I ask everybody to be patient with us as we try to figure out the right sound mix as far as from the mics and from the hand mics. So thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, at this time we have no travel and training scheduled for the remainder of the month. Additionally, on your stands there, we did do some table drops. Unfortunately, I'll go over that real fast so everybody understands what's going on. So we did put the calendar for the invocation. You have a copy of that now for everybody?
Yes, sir.
We're asking Ms. Jackson will discuss the Lee Avenue emergency culvert replacement. Now, we've discussed that about 4 times, and I did pull it from the last meeting with some funding concerns, which has since been resolved, but Ms. Jackson will speak on that. We just want to ensure that you had a copy of that document. And the last table drop was the finance report. It was not included in your weekend book. We have been updating that finance report. We're updating the finance report due to the audit. We're just not caught up with the report through the month of October. They should be caught up by January with the final finances. Want to make sure we did put that in your packet for your review. Are there any questions on that, Mr. Mayor? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This time we're moving to the information session. And again, for those in the audience, this is our first time. We will definitely go back and look at the sound check to make sure some of that feedback is gone moving forward. With that, the vision and the mission remain the same. City priorities remain the same. Outside of it, we did add in the word community to reflect that all the priorities are center focus on the improvement of the community. City priority pillars. We had some questions about these two slides going back to back, so I tried to better explain how that works. So each of the main priorities is a pillar, and within that pillar of priorities, there are sub-priorities, but no priority is higher than the other, which you want to better break down the main 4 priorities. I hope that explains that to the citizens who have concerns about how this works. And you can see there, we have a service delivery pillar and those other priorities within that pillar: infrastructure, quality of life, and city workforce. And for those who are just watching for the first time in the audience or here watching live, we do break down each priority, each meeting in detail. The first one we did was the canals and alleys. Break that down. And for those who are watching, you can find the total slides. They'll be in the video. They'll be on the Facebook post for 30 days, and then they'll be archived in YouTube channels. A follow-up post will be tomorrow with the slides just by themselves. Typically, we won't talk about the previous slides. We will go to the newest update. So, Blighted Properties was next. Then we discuss unhoused citizens, overpasses and bridges, streets and roads, workforce morale, data-driven analytics, effective communications, Tammy Ponds stormwater, budgeting finances, affordable housing, and our latest edition on gangs and drugs. Mr. Mayor, you know safety is the highest priority of the commission for the city. And I'm going to let the chief of police kind of talk a little bit on these slides once I get done with my portion. But this is a high priority. I will say a few things. This is the lowest our violent crimes have been since I've been here, almost going on 3 years. We did not have our first violent crime until recently. That's contributed to the direct leadership of the police and his Chief Cox and his team, and also our citizens. You know, constant communication, watching out for each other, and just take care of each other. Gang activity mitigation. This is still a problem. We all recognize that, and Chief Cox is going to go into that a little bit on his presentation when he speaks. But we are definitely trying our best to mitigate that area. Leadership and collaboration. Again, good job by Chief Cox and his team, collaborating with our state and local partners and the county. And I've already discussed communication, information, and then just change some of our policies. We definitely have some different policies we're looking at changing next year in some capacity. So definitely want to be a community-led event to the commission. We got some very engaged and caring citizens about certain policies that we want to make sure everybody kind of understands and it benefits everybody. But we'll have that discussion in the future. So as far as broken down, as far as the slides, I'm gonna read some of this verbatim, and then I'll kind of summarize it, and I'll bring up Chief Cox to finish it off. So I'm gonna read this statement because I want to make sure everybody clearly understands what we're dealing with. So our gangs and our drugs, these are regional and national issues, not just here, specifically in Waycross. That's why it's so important the coordination across all law enforcement, the courts, the schools, and the families, social services, and the community. It's the only way to kind of fix this. It's not just the job of the police. some of our target law enforcement and partnerships, and so many know about this. Our Waycross Police Department, works daily to disrupt criminal activity. We do active patrols and investigations, intelligence-led policing, joint operations with Ware County Sheriff Office, the GBI, and federal partners in some cases. Of course, this goes into warrants, arrests, and case building, and individuals actively involved in gang or drug-related activity. With this, I know we've had a lot of questions. Sometimes when stuff does not move as fast as we want to be, but we have learned from the past that you need to have the strongest case as possible if you want to make sure you get the drugs off the street, as well as the individuals that are choosing to be in gangs. So that's why it does take some time to get these things to court. And again, on that same aspect, some of our allegations and investigations are not immediately visible to the public because active cases cannot be discussed without jeopardizing some of the prosecutions. We've learned that in the past. We let some things get out. Sometimes citizens, our ex-citizens that's now, some of you have those scandal radios and you're putting out information that you hear. It's critically important that you don't do that because that jeopardizes every investigation when you put that out, especially if you don't have all the facts of what's going on. And Chief Cox is going to talk about that moving forward in the future, about how important it is to kind of maintain that radio silence if you don't know what's going on, because it has actually deteriorated some investigations. Drug enforcement overdose prevention. I'll make sure I say this for our citizens. The city recognizes that drugs are both a criminal issue and a public health issue. We'll make sure we do say that. It's just not about criminalization. We have a lot of people that fall to become victims of drugs for various reasons, so we'll make sure that's clear. So with that said, officers actively target the networks, not just the low-level users. So just want to say that out loud. And then our first responders are trained and equipped to respond to overdoses, saving lives while investigations continue. And of course, the city supports efforts that connect individuals to treatment and recovery resources when possible. I mentioned earlier about the school involvement, youth prevention, and early intervention. That is our best way to pull these young people from the gangs. As you know, our team are in all the schools. They visit schools regularly, and they discuss the gang problems as much as possible. We do community events and discuss it as well, trying to make sure that our parents and our youth have access, or we can ask a question and they have access to anything they need to prevent them from going down that road. So again, community engagement with the schools, youth programs, and our community partner is the best way to prevent our young people from going to those gangs. In the court cases, again, just want to make sure everybody understands it's a lot of legal standards that just have to be evident for, first of all, for it to go to court. And again, everybody can't see this, but I'm talking to Chief Cox. We're going to figure out a better way to make sure people see that as far as transparency. And we're going to bring it to the commission probably sometime second quarter once we figure out how that looks. But definitely want people to understand and see what's going on. I know it's easy to get on social media or listen to the rumor mill and just think that things happening, but it is. And then again, last thing, the most important thing, community involvement and transparency. Public safety works best when the community is involved. Residents are encouraged to report suspicious activity, share information when appropriate, and then we're going to do a better job of discussing public safety priorities during commission meetings and public forums, to include town halls. I'm going to stop there, Mr. Mayor, and let Chief Cox, he wants to discuss a few items, and I'll come back up here and finish off the slides. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Appreciate y'all allowing me a couple minutes this evening. And I did want to speak about a couple of things, primarily because here in the last week or so, I've had 2 or 3 citizens come up to me and ask me questions about various events and things like that, and policies of the police department. So I want to go ahead and speak about a few things. And one of those things is training. Last year, or actually this year, with just a couple of weeks to go, Waycross Police Department has had 9,000 plus hours of training for the officers of the department. That averages about 180 officers of training per officer, and which equates to about a month's worth of training per officer spread out. And this does include de-escalation training, and it also includes use of force training. Also, training that's really is non-mandated efforts, and what I mean by that is the state doesn't come in and say you've got to do this, you got to do that, da, da, da. These are the efforts that we do on our own to make sure that the officers are trained the way they need to be trained, and to make sure we got a professional department that we seek. And one of those is the defensive tactics instructors that we have. Anytime defensive tactics is taught, you also get reminded of legal obligations, what's allowed, what's not allowed, and the what we call the I don't know if you'd call it principle or not, but the Graham v. Connor Supreme Court case that anybody can Google that pretty much dictates our use of force and what we're allowed to do, and that's like the landmark case for us. Use of force instructors, which is very scenario-based driven. Once again, the de-escalation tactics are also taught there. We actually, and I don't know how many agencies actually have this, but one of our general instructors is actually trained in de-escalation. It's something we've always referred to it as verbal judo. It's no matter what threat comes at you, we're able to deflect it and get back on task, and it's really training on how not taking things personal and how to deflect and try to bring somebody down. I was asked recently about our body camera policy. Our General Order 34.3 is activated by Uniform Patrol Section when in contact with citizens while acting in an official capacity. In other words, they get a call for service, it's going to be activated. They do a traffic stop, it's going to be activated. Any professional service, it's going to be activated. Our Special Operations and Criminal Investigations Unit, when carrying out a patrol or enforcement function, they carry the body cameras. They have to be activated. Deactivation occurs only after the encounter has ceased. So whenever we cut off that professional contact. Anytime body camera is not activated, there is required documentation for non-use, which can prompt an internal investigation. Investigations General Order 1.5.6, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation shall be requested to investigate any serious injury, death, or officer-involved shooting. And also, concurrently with that, as soon as that happens, the Waycross Police Department also begins an internal investigation for policy infractions and things of that nature. And that is usually carried out by a section commander, which carries the rank of captain. And some of our rules of conduct under General Order 16.2.1, without going in all on conformance to laws, departmental reports, abuse of process, truthfulness, use of force, misconduct known to departmental personnel, and citizen complaints. And a lot of the language, and if you were to go and read each one of those, the language is repeated in several locations, or truthfulness in reports. Abuse of power would be making up a criminal case against somebody or a traffic offense. Under use of force, the officers are mandated to intervene if they ever see another officer has went too far. It's his job to intervene. Misconduct known to departmental personnel, even if somebody sees that I have done something wrong, under our own policy, they are obligated to go to the city manager and report it to him that they see me do something that was out of line. And that's just, if I brought the whole policy book in here, it's about a foot thick, but that's just some of the highlights right there. As far as what I call some of our quality assurances, what we do internally to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to be doing, we do a use of force review, and what that is, that usually goes through 5 levels of individuals looking to make sure that it's compliant within the Graham v. Connor standard that I spoke about earlier. It goes through a sergeant, lieutenant, captain, major, and normally myself. We also do an arrest review, which is also known as a bias-based profile analysis. We look at all the activities by all the officers and make sure that the law is being equally applied amongst all our citizens, no matter if it's male, female, black, white, age, whatever scenario may be, we look at those. Internal investigation or an internal or an IA analysis, once again, if an officer is investigated for a violation of policy, it is usually reviewed at a minimum 4. It's investigated by a sergeant. Once it goes from sergeant, it goes to lieutenant, who looks at it again and makes sure that nothing was missed during the investigation. Then it goes up to the captain, then it goes up to the major. And then if it gets up to the major and they feel like something was violated and they recommend a what we call level 2 disciplinary action, which means a suspension, termination, or something like that, then it would go to me. At which point we would have a meeting in my office and like a hearing with the officer to determine. We also have a chaplains board, which several functions, but one of the primary, as in relation to what we're discussing here, is policy discussion and review, and also any major incident, they will get information that nobody else inside the city gets, outside of the officers that are particularly involved. So I give them a little extra more because I do know that they are the people in the community that when people have concerns, that's who they go to express those concerns. And these are some of the outlets we use. So I give them enough evidence so when they tell somebody it's being investigated, it's being looked at this time, they can be confident whenever they say that to somebody. If there was wrongdoing, they know that too. I'll tell them this is where we messed up. And so they get that information just so they can help share that with people it needs to be shared to. Some of the external outlets and other ways we get information out to the community is some of the community events that we do, like our last day of school event, Create with a Cop, Cops and Kids Christmas, Community Cleanup and Praise Picnic, our Junior Auxiliary Officer Program, our Junior Police Academy, our Civic Service, and our Citizens Police Academy. We are defined by professionalism. We're always speaking of it. How do we maintain that professionalism? Through disciplinary actions and expectations. And that is really driven by national accreditation. We are a nationally accredited agency. Less than 5% of all agencies in the United States can say they have national accreditation. And what does that mean? That means a bunch of policy. It means a bunch of analysis and reviews, like I explained to you a little bit earlier. And I do want to know one thing I gauge on how well we're doing our professionalism is I look at internal investigations every year. And I can tell you for the year 2024, of course we don't have complete numbers for 2025 yet, but for 2024, out of approximately 75,000 professional contacts and encounters inside the city of Waycross, we actually had 24 external complaints, which I say is absolutely amazing. And those complaints are normally, if I could just use as an example, is most of them's procedural type stuff. He arrested me and he didn't read me his rights. Or he didn't read me my rights. Well, technically, you don't always have to read somebody to right. Only if they've been arrested, and then you're going to interview them afterwards. That's when rights come into play. And so it's things like that. 24 external complaints, internal complaints, and let me say this: out of 24 external complaints, about a third we sustained, and we found that the officer there was wrongdoing, and they could have received a written reprimand, suspension, whatever, maybe in some cases a termination. Internal complaints, we had 47 internal complaints. That's what we recognize, and we take action on it, and we open an internal investigation. And out of the 47, what kind of things are we looking at? Somebody was late getting to work, they didn't complete all their paperwork, what they want, like they were supposed to, et cetera, et cetera. And how those 47 internal complaints, about 3/4 of them, we sustained the charges against the officers. And one of the things, and Mr. Rayford, he spoke on a little bit, if you see particular activities, there's always a bigger story to it. And one of the best examples I can give, it goes back years ago, and we had a couple people got hit on bicycles. It was always late at night. And there was an intent put out in the community that we were just harassing people, and we had no purpose for doing what we was doing outside of just mere harassment. And I knew that not to be true. I knew it not to be true because I'm the one that gave the order. You need to get out there. Everybody you see out at night on a bicycle, I said you need to get issue them a warning. That's all it was just warning, and see if we can't turn this around. See if we can't make them visible out there at night. And it wasn't long. It was probably one of the most effective things we've done. It wasn't long before we saw flashlights duct taped to the handlebars of bicycles. And so everybody was now visible. And so we've seen it as a success. But sometimes when we go in different neighborhoods and we're stopping people because they're out on foot, they're walking down the middle of the road or whatever, it's not for the purpose of harassment. It could be for the purpose because we've had 4 or 5 burglaries in that particular neighborhood, and we want to see who's out walking at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Or if we're out getting out with people on sidewalks or crossing, or there's not a crosswalk out on Georgia 520, it's not for the purpose of harassment, it's for the purpose of we don't want them to get hit in the middle of the road. And so we go, you need to know that the officers of the Waycross Police Department are out acting in a professional manner. If they're not, it's addressed. But their purpose is to get out there and make our streets safe, to make our neighborhoods safe. It's not to get out there for the pure enjoyment of harassing anybody. We don't do that. They are humans. Mistakes are going to be made at times. But to just say that we go out there and we've got, there's some sort of, conspiracy, that's not the case. There's efforts around it, or intent around it, is to get drugs off the street, is to get guns off the streets. We've seen major improvements. So like Mr. Rayford said, as far as some of the violence, it's because we're getting a lot of these guns off the streets. We know where to go and we know where to look. We are derelict in our duties if we have a shooting in a particular part of town, in a particular block, on a particular street, and we ignore it and we don't give attention to it. We're derelict in our duties at that time. And we make an effort to go over there and see if we can do good by getting these, these weapons and stuff off the street. So, sometimes there's, like I said, there's bigger goals at play. It's not always just as simple as a pedestrian violation or bicycle violation, or I don't know anybody that just stops people, give them speeding tickets for no reason. If they get a speeding ticket, it's because they're speeding. And that's one of the highest priorities, is to make our roadways safe. And so, I guess, are there any questions anybody may have for me on anything in particular?
I open the floor to the commission, and if they have any questions, I'll start with District 1. Do you have any questions, Chief?
No, no, sir.
District 2?
No, sir.
District 3?
No.
District 4?
No, sir.
And District 5?
No, I do not, Mr. Mayor.
None of this time. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's just one more thing. So everything I just shared, you can also be shared. You would have learned if you would attend our Citizens Police Academy. That's one of the majority of that, and we have really changed the way we operate. I think Commissioner Felder, you went through it, and I think you got to conduct some traffic stops and things like that. But our Citizens Police Academy, we really made it interactive. Because there's one thing I can tell you, we understand you always have a historical perspective when you're in police and you're out here doing what you cannot forget that. And so, but what we tried to do is our Citizens Police Academy, very interactive, to allow the citizens that attend to train with the officers or to receive some of the training they see, so they can, so both sides can really see what's going on and have a better understanding.
After I received regular loan proposal, once you review the detail, you will see how a lot of what Chief Cox said is closely aligned with that. But there are a few things that we must change, and I'm going to point it out real fast so we can think about it as you read his proposal. One thing I've engaged with Chief Cox, although we got good body cams, technology changes rapidly. I mean, it's one of the most rapidly changing communication devices there is. Definitely talking about storage and the cloud. engaged Chief Cox and Director Simmons to kind of figure out, can we integrate our cloud storage or probably get new body cam, just to give the police force more, not just police force, but the community better transparency. Because although Chief Cox mentioned, we want those cams to be kind of operating by themselves almost, if that makes sense. So that's one thing we're gonna definitely work with the community on. It's an important improvement that's outlined in this belong proposal, Reverend proposal. The second piece on that, and Chief Cox kind of touched on as far as training, I've also, we're gonna initiate this, lowering the temperature at recent events, as far as escalation. We're gonna try to put something together early next year. We're gonna get with our local ministers and pastors and community leaders about this and really go over what de-escalation is. One of the events that Reverend Long mentioned, looking back at and reviewing it, it's not clear on, everybody has to de-escalate the situation. It's not police, everybody has to. And we'll make sure that everybody understands how that works. And we're gonna take some people through that type of training. I would just say the upper thing that we do a lot of times with events, it causes a lot of problems. So I want to make sure that the community understands that. And we're going to ask the community to get involved with us on that process. So in the future, when things do happen, the commands the police can be given crystal clear, understood, heard. Our citizens, you can definitely use your phones, all those things of that nature. With technology, you have to get right on the person. You can just zoom in and make sure you hold the police accountable. And then the third piece of this, this summarizes, I do view the body cam as well, once it gets past a certain level. But as Chief Cox said, if you ever got a problem, definitely just bring it straight to the tower. I do trust our police force. That being said, as Chief Cox said, we are all human, so stuff can happen, and definitely procedural. So we gotta make sure we always working on our procedures in the right manner. But I do ask that you review what was presented by Reverend Malone. Because like I say, it's about 80% mirror to what we're kind of doing right now. But there are a few things that we definitely got to work on. One's going to be, I missed this again, it's going to be the communications with the citizens. I don't know how that looks right now as far as really talking about ongoing investigations and stuff like that. But I know because people don't know what's going on and think it's not going on. So me and Chief Cox going to figure out how to put that stuff out legally, and then in a manner that everybody kind of knows what's going on. And also, some of our performance measures, when we do certain things, Chief Cox mentioned it, you gotta understand, like, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you're walking down Middle Street, you probably don't just stop, for a lot of reasons. But we want to show that in the policy, it needs to be in the policy so people can understand why they need to stop. And then, goes back to the explanation, when you get stopped, what should you say to make that stop go as smooth as possible? So definitely that's something I think is outlined in Reverend Long's proposal. We will make sure that that's clear to everybody. So we don't have all these misunderstandings that then escalate to other stuff. I'm going to stop there for any questions.
Any commissioner have any questions for my city manager?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Mayor, we'll move to the city plan, 10-year city plan. This is the 10-year city plan. We are at the midterm, years 2 to 4, updating policies, improving standards in the workforce, complete automation of IT programs and services, fund infrastructure strategy, facility transportation and water and sewer, and developing a long-term financial strategy. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to turn it over to our purchase manager with bids. And again, the Lee Avenue cover replacement, the bid went out. We did accept the bid, but I did pull it. I was concerned about the initial finances to pay for it. I sat down with the finance director and the purchasing manager, and we got a better understanding how it's going to be funded over time. This will be a multi-month, possibly multi-year project. It is a big project. If you can imagine where Lee Avenue is, when you pass underneath the bridge, going toward Memorial, you cross over the canal right there. That whole culvert right there kind of needs to be replaced, and we've been lucky right now. It has not been unfortunately a total collapse and failure. We've been very lucky. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. We do have the funding. It's going to be a mix of 3 separate funds. You have that in front of you right now for your review. But it's going to be a mix of 3 separate funds, so I did not deplete one fund source. Typically, we'll take this out of sewer and water, but because the project is estimated in the millions, I wanted to take it over multiple fund sources over time. And this time, I'll pass it over to Ms. Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, purchasing has actually 2 items for you. The first one is the Lee Avenue Lotus culvert replacement. A brief description of that project: the culvert on Lee Avenue between Knight Avenue and Memorial Drive needs to be replaced because it is beginning to cave in. It will be replaced with GDOT standard reinforced concrete single box culvert. We actually received 4 bids for this project. The lowest and best bid came from Scruggs Company at a cost of $1,165,385.80. We are asking that the Commission allow us to move forward with this project so that we can get it done.
At this time, Commission, we're going to open the floor for any questions or comments you have. So I'll start off first with the consent to the proposal, and I'll start with District 1.
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes, sir.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
You have all consenting.
And may I also mention that the additional funding, as the city manager said, it'll be water sewer, but it will also be LMIG and SPLOST that will take care of that project.
Very good.
The next item that we have is actually for real estate property, and with the city manager's permission, I would like to ask for an executive session for this discussion.
Okay. And we can do that at the end?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next, Mr. Mayor, we move to the infrastructure update. As everyone has been informed, the update is posted by 10 o'clock every day for those who want this update. You can also receive it through text, email, and I think we have the phone call version here pretty soon. So you got 4 ways to receive the update if you need it. But the first place is going to be, it's on our webpage and the Facebook. So you see the Public Works information infrastructure pretty much in Zone 3 for us Public Works this week. The only change in there is going to be that we're cleaning up downtown after the great Christmas parade that we had. Engineering projects, of course, the Dirt Street paving is ongoing right now. The Quarterman Street, the Lee Avenue culvert replacement, Water and Sewer Department. So we got some water taps on Harris Street, Thomas Street, and then we're getting locates for some of our bigger projects just coming forward. And then storm drain issues again with Thomas Street. These are the zones again, Mr. Mayor. So Zone 1 is Albany Avenue to Plant Avenue. Zone 2 is Memorial Highway to Scrivens Avenue. Zone 3 is Memorial Highway to Haynes Avenue. And then Zone 4 is Albany Avenue to Glenmore Avenue. Again, these are the streets about to get paved. Brunel and Scrivens. They should start in January pending the weather. Dirt road paving has started. Satilla Lane being the first dirt road to get paved, but again, it's dependent on the weather. And then you see the process there with Quarterman Street, Thomas Street, and Sweat Street complete. Collaboration project, Mr. Mayor, GDOT presentation, Hybrid Beacon 520. A number of these have changed from the last meeting, so I won't go into detail unless there's any questions about that. Right now, I'm contacting GDOT once a week to make sure that we stay on top of these projects. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to the block grant area project discussion. Here's what the CBDG can be used for. In this scenario, it's public infrastructure and drain improvements. When I presented this, we presented this a few times, and we didn't have a full commission a couple of times. Everybody wasn't here. But this first map was given to us from the Southern Regional Commission, and this was a hot map just talking about the economic situations to show that what would qualify, as a reminder. And then I presented some areas in the city, and I made a recommendation, but I did go back and sit down with the team to Friday and this morning, and we want to come back because we need to go ahead and make a decision on where these funds are going to go. So this is the conversation with our engineer, our water and sewer team, and public works, what we probably should do. So based off their recommendations and then me kind of reflecting on things, we decided the best project probably should be to keep expanding from the Islar Street project. As you know, that was awarded a block grant in 2022, maybe right before I got here, and some of the work was completed. That was the first phase of that work, which I did not know of. So this will be the second phase of that work, and again, it's up to $1 million. It does qualify already. It's probably likely going to be the most qualified. The good thing about this scenario, if we get that grant money, we'll appropriate there, apply it there, and we have other funding, other money to kind of spread around to the other project area. So the recommendation would be that we go ahead and assign Islar. So when I say Islar, it's just not Islar Street itself. It's a hot map. We can expand out of there to get multiple things done. But that's one of our problem areas as far as draining. And if we could get a vote to put it on the agenda for tomorrow for voting, that would be my recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
So we need consent for the Islar project that will be expansive.
Correct.
And I will go to the districts. We'll look at District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes, sir.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
And we'll have it on the agenda tomorrow for up or down vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And next, Mr. Mayor, this is a purchase request by the Public Works Director, and we discussed this a few times before about the vac trailer. We did go out and look at some other options. Of course, the option we chose was the least expensive, and it can be bought on what's considered a state contract, so we can go ahead and purchase it now. I think it's in the workbook as far as the cost. The reason why we're asking for this vac trailer, as you know, the vac trailer, actually the vac truck is our most used piece of equipment right now, bar none. And it is failing. Thank you to the commission. We did order a new vac truck, but it's taking some time for it to get here. I'm not sure that the current vac truck is going to make it until it gets here. And when I asked the Public Works Director, what can we do about that, he kind of did some research with Infomark partners, and they kind of came up with the vac trailer. It's smaller, more efficient, and can do pretty much some of the same jobs that a vac truck would do at a way lower cost. Now it can't replace the vac truck because the vac truck has many more things it can do. But for right now, we think it's a great tool to have. We're going to use some of the equipment money from this FLOSS 2023 account. This is part of the equipment, and just to make sure everybody remembers, a lot of that equipment that was appropriated for this FLOSS, we already purchased through ARPA or other means. So we do have some flexibility in that FLOSS 2023 account to do other equipment purchases. So I want to go ahead and purchase this vac trailer. I can let Ms. Jackson answer any questions if you have any questions about how the state contract was not how the state contract works for this piece of equipment.
So you just need a consent for the vac trailer. And I'll look to each one of the commission members, District 1
Yes.
and District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thank you.
Next and last agenda item, Mr. Mayor, is an appointment request by the Waycross Ware County Development Authority Director. It's a nominee appointment. You have that name in front of you. I'm going to let Jason, you want to speak on that, or you don't want to say anything about it? Okay. I'm going to let Jason answer any questions about the appointee.
Okay.
And then we'll, after he's made remarks, we'll just ask that they be put on consideration for tomorrow's vote.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. We are requesting that the Commission consider our nomination for reappointment of Brian Jackson. Brian, as some of y'all may recall, was filling the unexpired term of Chris Kovacs, who had to relocate for work. So this reappointment would actually be Mr. Jackson's first full term in his own right. And as you may or may not know, each member of the Development Authority Board of Directors can serve 2 4-year terms, and then they have to roll off for 1 year in their own right.
I can understand that. So with that being said, we will consider Mr. Bryan for the position again, and we can put it on our agenda for tomorrow. And I'll look to the districts to find out what they would like to do. So at this time, we're looking for consent to put the name on the agenda for voting tomorrow for the Waycross Ware County Development Authority appointment. And this will start with District 1.
I like to wait.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have 4. We can move on with it tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let the record show for the clerk's documentation, we had 1 commissioner, District 1 wanted to wait, and Districts 2, 3, 4, and 5 move forward with the name of the appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, we're gonna have 14 privilege license renewals tomorrow. We're gonna have 1 new privilege license. We're gonna have no proposed ordinances. And we're gonna have 3 resolutions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
So it looks like 6.
Does that have to be a resolution for the purchase?
For the back term?
Okay, I stand corrected, Mr. Mayor, it's gonna be 6 resolutions.
6 resolutions, okay, very good.
At this time, Mr. Mayor, I will turn it over to the city attorney for their report.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, the only thing we have reporting today is that the resolutions for the certification of both the special election and the regular election will be ready for tomorrow's meeting.
Very good.
That is all.
Thank you, city attorney. Mr. Mayor, for my report, I only have 2 things. And I know you're gonna cover this in your remarks as well. But for tonight, Tuesday and Wednesday night, the police courtroom is open for those needing shelter from the weather. We can flex up to the auditorium, but we need advance notification. So tonight we'll not be able to do it because we don't have the staff to man it. We did put out to citizens to contact their commissioner or yourself, Mr. Mayor, or myself, if they needed shelter from the cold, so we can set the auditorium up. Additionally, we put out information that if you are without power, for whatever reason, you should contact your power provider for additional resources or mitigation. So I know we had a lot of phone calls about that. We cannot get into legal matters with any service provider, but if you call them, they may be able to work with you through this adverse weather. So again, any citizen might be listening. If you and again, if you're without power, definitely call your commission, let them know so we can determine a way to get you to the auditorium or the police station. But we need to know as soon as possible. You can start calling tonight, and we'll do our best, the best of our abilities to get those citizens to some warm and shelter. That's all I have at this time, Mr. Mayor. And again, we do have an executive session for property.
Okay. With that, I just wanted to commend the commission and also want to welcome our new commissioner, Commissioner William Tompkins for District 4, and also want to appreciate each of you for being present tonight. At this time, I'm going to make one announcement before entertaining a motion to go into executive session. I was given this note, and it was about someone named Santa Claus. And it says he will be in the lobby of the City Hall on Monday, December the 22nd, and Tuesday, December 23rd, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And to bring your lists, your cameras, and take your pictures with this gentleman named Santa Claus for free.
All right.
With that, I entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion from our Commissioner Nelson. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from our Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Bennett. All in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous, and we're going into executive session. To everyone else who is present, thank you for being present. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.